Hello there. Welcome in Drive Time Sports on this Wednesday. Glad to have you, whether you're listening to the show on air, online, or through the Extra Sports 1300 app, or whether you are watching the show at Extra Sports 1300 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. If you would like to step up your patronage today, you could always text or call into the show at 719-247-1313. Or if you're watching the show, you could just comment on your social media platform of choice. Perhaps you might have a thought, an opinion on any one of these. We call them the three stories that are driving the show. All right, let's start. At long last, the Denver Broncos have gotten their first round pick locked up. And last night, right before the Broncos rookies are scheduled to report for training camp. It's not just training camp for the rookies, but the rookies report today. Jahdae Barron signs a 4-year with a 5th-year option, rookie contract worth just over $18 million. But the lingering question, what was the holdup? Because nothing in the reporting from Mike Kliss or on Spot Track, where I looked at the contract details, nothing stands out. It looks like a very slotted contract. He's making less in a bonus, less in a contract than Emeka Egbuka is with Tampa Bay, but he's making more in both of those categories than Derek Harmon, who went to the Steelers right after him. And I have not seen the word guaranteed. Most of the consternation from rookies not signing their deals has to do with guaranteed money. Certainly that's the case for RJ Harvey and 30 second-round picks that are still unsigned. With Shamar Stewart, maybe it's not guaranteed money. Maybe that's what Jahdae Barron was seeking, is the same thing Shamar Stewart was, and the Broncos gave it to him. Maybe we'll find out more. Maybe we won't. But it seems like a pretty routine, slotted, rookie-scale deal. But the lingering questions aside, the most important thing is that there's no chance of a holdout now. Jahdae Barron will report to training camp, be an active participant, and get ready for his rookie season, in which I think he will have, other than, don't forget, Jeremy Crashaw, Broncos punter. Outside of that, Jahdae Barron will have the biggest impact of any Broncos rookie, and he will be set up for success, I think, more so than maybe any rookie in this Broncos class. He's going to be playing on what I think could be the NFL's best defense. He's going to have plenty of support around him. Pat Surtain, Hufanga, Brandon Jones behind him. He's got Dre Greenlaw in front of him. He's got Riley Moss on the other side, maybe the same side. They're going to put Barron in the slot, it seems like, Moss, so he'll be on either side. The point is, he's very well insulated. Even though he is a first-round pick, even though he is the headlining pick of this Denver Broncos draft class, he's not going to be asked to have the impact that some of these other rookies, especially like an RJ Harvey, is supposed to have. And for that reason, he might actually end up having the greatest impact based on expectation. But I think this secondary, I'm not calling them no-fly zone 2.0, but they have laid the groundwork. If Jahdae Barron hits, if Riley Moss continues to develop, if Tuilanoa Hufanga stays healthy, this has a chance to be certainly the best secondary the Broncos have had since the no-fly zone, and certainly could be the best secondary in the National Football League. And now the chances of that are not going to be impeded whatsoever based on a contract holdout. Because Jahdae Barron, 4 years, just over $18 million. Now, let's go to story number 2. ESPN on the call. Wasn't expecting a swing off, were you? Or was I? I wasn't expecting one, but we got a swing off last night to decide the All-Star game, and it was won, as you heard from Carl Ravitch there, by Kyle Schwarber in the National League. In what turned out to be a very good Major League Baseball All-Star game. I like the swing off. It's an exhibition. It doesn't count. We don't need to play extra innings, and we certainly don't need to have a tie like we did in Milwaukee all those years ago, because the last thing baseball needs is to come up with some stupid idea like making home field advantage in the World Series on the line in the All-Star game. But what made it the most enjoyable was not the swing off. It was the fact that the players last night did the bare minimum that we ask of our athletes in these All-Star games. Try. Pretend it's a real game to some extent. We talk about formats, and we can debate what format is better and what format is ideal, and I will put up any format that doesn't involve Kevin Hart as being the superior format to any All-Star game. But really, it doesn't matter what format you have. USA versus the world, league versus league, old guys versus young guys. If the athletes aren't going to try and give the effort and care, the format's not going to matter. It's going to be bad. And that's the problem, real problem with the NBA. And that's why they're going to a US versus the world format, because they feel, Adam Silver feels like that's the only way he's going to get the players to buy in and to try. Those players last night in Atlanta, they looked like they cared. They looked like they wanted to win. The American League was down 6-0. They were toast. And yet they come back with 4 runs in the 7th and 2 in the 9th. And the National League celebrated like they cared that they won the All-Star game. That's all we're really asking. That's all that is required. You are the best at what you do on planet Earth. It doesn't take much. Just be you. But when you're not you, because you're not trying, you put out a garbage product. Major League Baseball had a good night last night because the participants in the All-Star game tried and cared. A novel concept, I know. Story number 3 is that Nique Clifford showed out once again in NBA Summer League. The Colorado Springs native, former CSU Ram, dropped 19 today for the Sacramento Kings, and for the Vegas Summer League, he is averaging about 16 points and affecting the game in a number of ways, rebounding the ball, assisting, and he's certainly impressed in NBA Summer League, which I am not surprised about. But this is the way players in the summer league should be judged. If you're a rookie, look like you belong. If you're a second-year player, you better look like the best player on the floor. That's really how you evaluate these guys. And then if they exceed those expectations, then you take note. Right? And I think that's where Nique Clifford is. He doesn't just look like he belongs. He's been the best player on this Kings Summer League team. He's been the best player on the floor in many of the games he's played in Vegas. And he's showing that the Kings would be crazy not to put him in the regular rotation this upcoming season. And I have no reason to believe they aren't going to. They traded into the first round. They didn't have a pick. They traded to get one so they could take Nique Clifford. The Kings know what Nique is, and it's been that belief has been fortified, I think, with what he has done in Summer League. Can't get too carried away with anything you see in Summer League because the competition level is going to go up, but all you can ask of a rookie, whether it be Nique Clifford or Bo Nix or anybody else, just check the box. Right? This was the first opportunity for Nique Clifford to check a box that says, yeah, I'm an NBA player. And he's checked that box and then some. Meanwhile, Deron Holmes had a good game last night for the Denver Nuggets. 10 points, 11 rebounds. And he's kind of a rookie plus. So he's kind of in this middle ground. He needs to show a little bit more than he just belongs on an NBA floor because he's had the highest level of coaching, the highest level of training, the highest level of nutrition. He's been able to dedicate every waking moment over the past year to being an NBA player. So he should look a little bit better than just a guy who belongs. And I think Deron Holmes last night and for most of the Summer League has looked that. And as the Denver Nuggets continue to buy up veterans to take the spots of these young guys, it still seems like there is a niche, there is a role that Deron Holmes, if he continues to progress, can hold for this Denver Nuggets team playing next to Jonas Valanciunas. So everyone that you've wanted, I think, or most people have wanted around here to succeed at Summer League. Deron Holmes, Nique Clifford, maybe a Cooper Flagg. How about a Yang Hansen? I haven't talked about him. Chinese Jokic has looked terrific. All of these guys I was looking at going into Summer League saying, I want to watch him. I want to see what he has. All of them have delivered. Take your thoughts on the three stories that are driving the show. 719-247-1313. Coming up next, why I'm a little bit more bullish on this year's version of the Air Force Falcons than the preseason voters. I want to preface this by saying, as someone who votes in a preseason college conference polls, that in many ways it is a fool's errand to try and stack up these teams. In the era of the transfer portal, it's just, you can do a lot of research. And I know these people who vote in media polls, I certainly take it very seriously. I do a lot of homework, and I still come away going, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to project how somebody who is playing, at UC Santa Barbara is going to play at UNLV. And it's like, it's a higher level. And that's the job, to be fair. And I enjoy talking about these things, and I enjoy doing them. But it's just, as much of an inexact science as it has always been, it's even more so now. And I always say I'm going to do this, and I never do. Got to save the preseason poll and compare it. I do that in women's basketball just because my reputation and me being right is on the line. I don't vote in the preseason Mount West football poll. I would. Just made my case. If anyone from the Mount West is here in Colorado Springs and they're not all in Vegas for media days, I would love to vote on every preseason poll I could get my hands on, and I will put in the work. To wit, the Boise State Broncos, for I believe the 110th consecutive year, have been voted the preseason favorite. And yes, reputations weigh heavily in these kind of things, but Boise State's loaded, right? Losing Ashton Genty for the Mountain West, I don't know is going to be that much of an issue. To get back in the college football playoff, to advance in the college football playoff, that might be a taller order for this year's version of the Broncos. But in terms of the Mountain West, losing out on Ashton Genty does not sway me in a direction that says Boise State's not the best team in this conference. They are. And they got all but 4 first place votes. UNLV got the 4. So they're second, then San Jose State, then Colorado State, then Fresno State, then Air Force. I'm not going to say it's completely unfair that the Falcons are 6th, but if there is one team that I'm going to back and say they're finishing higher than that once the season's over, it's Air Force. I think that they will finish in the top 5 of the Mount West, and I think they have an opportunity to be the top of that. I suppose there are kind of 3 tiers, or maybe more, 4 tiers in the Mountain West. Boise State is on a tier by themselves. I do believe that. Some people would say Boise State and UNLV are in the top tier. I'm not going to shout them down from that, but I think it is Boise State, pretty cut and dry. Then it's UNLV and the team that Ken Niumatalolo has at San Jose State. I think that's kind of the second tier of the Mount West. And then Fresno State, CSU, Air Force, I think that they're that next group. And I think Air Force has the opportunity to be at the top of that. A lot is going to have to go right for them to challenge to be in the Mountain West title game. But I think only a couple of things have to go right for them in order to be in the top 5 once the season's over and kind of be at the top of their tier. And I think with Air Force, the biggest question I have is on the defensive side of the football. Because they are replacing a lot of starters on that defensive side. They still have Peyton Zadroik. They're going to be this Air Force team, and this plays into why I think that they'll exceed this preseason expectation that has been placed upon them. This is going to be a strong team in the trenches. At the line of scrimmage, they're returning 3 offensive linemen, 3 defensive linemen. They had a lot of guys that got a lot of quality playing time. Last year was a reset. They had to replace a lot of players without experience at the collegiate level had to play. But they're going to be better for that. So I think the diesel, the offensive line, is going to be improved, which is crazy to think. I mean, they were still, 4th in the nation in rushing? So it wasn't like they were terrible last year. Or 4th in the Mount West, excuse me. They were lower than that in the nation. But they're usually the best in the Mount West easily running the football. Last year, they took a step back. This year, I think they take a step forward. I think they're going to be very good in the trenches. I think they're going to be able to, in many games, control the line of scrimmage. And that's going to go a long way. They have Cade Harris coming back. They have Dylan Carson coming back. So key players in the Falcons run game are back. If Josh Johnson does ultimately become the starter for this team, he will add to the rushing attack. I don't know how much of an aerial threat he will be, but I think he will enhance the rushing attack of Air Force. But the biggest questions I have are kind of the second and third levels of that Air Force defense, especially on the back end. They lost a lot of experience and a lot of talent on the back end. And with some of these teams that can air it out at times, that's what I need to see from this Air Force team. If that works, then I think that Air Force can certainly finish in the top 5 of the Mountain West and be very interesting this upcoming season. If they have some elite talent, if they have another Camby Goff just champing at the bit to get his opportunity, and they have some of these younger guys that are going to step into prominent roles pop, then Air Force becomes really interesting. I certainly expect this team to become bowl eligible. And I'm not a big believer in momentum. I think the person that I have taken that from more than anybody else is Air Force head coach Troy Calhoun. He has converted me. I am not a momentum guy, but I do think you have to look at the way that Air Force finished last season. Not in the sense of they won their last 4 games, so now they're going to continue to win. That's not guaranteed. They're not on a high emotionally because they won their last 4 games. It is a complete hard reset going into this season. But closing out the season the way they did, finishing 4-0, every metric you look at, they were 180 degrees from where they were when they had admittedly a horrendous start to the year. Some of these young guys started to figure it out. It's the Malcolm Gladwell tipping point. It's the old saying about 10,000 hours to become an expert at something. There comes a moment in young athletes' development where they're making these incremental improvements and you're not really noticing them. And then all of a sudden, just because of the number of reps, the number of games that they've played, the number of snaps, all of a sudden it just clicks. And they understand it, and you can't force it. You can't press fast forward. Especially at the Air Force Academy. These teams are not cooked in a microwave. They're baked in an oven. They are, as every day that goes by, Air Force is more traditional college football that you grew up with. And hey, it's not NIL. It's not revenue sharing. It's not transfer portal. These other teams, and I don't blame them. Hey, if Air Force could hit the transfer portal, I guarantee you they would. But these other teams, they're cooked in a microwave, right? They bring in guys who are impact players elsewhere, and they bring them onto their team. There's still some time to get everything together. And I think UNLV and San Jose State are going to be interesting in that regard because they have a lot of new. But these are players who have been developed already. Air Force has got to start from the bottom. They got to develop these players from when they arrive as freshmen. You can't rush it. And and these players, as much as they want to have an impact immediately, they're just not going to. But you saw some of these players start to hit the last month of the season, and the results followed. This isn't about momentum, but this is about a young group that didn't have, as Troy Calhoun would say, a lot of snaps, that got the snaps to required, and all of a sudden the light bulb came on. Now, what this team is obviously fighting against are these microwave teams. Are these teams that are bringing in players that have been productive in other places and are ready to roll. First couple weeks of the season, maybe some growing pains, but I think UNLV is going to be very good under Dan Mullen now taking over that job. I think San Jose State is going to be strong. And then Boise State's like, it's just everything. When it comes to the Mountain West, Boise State's everything. They get good incoming freshmen. They get guys from the portal. Like, they get it all. Those teams are going to be good. And I don't know that Air Force is going to be able to surpass those teams. But I look at Fresno State, I look at CSU, and I say, I think Air Force has the chance to be better than those teams. Because now there's some continuity in very important spots. Again, the offensive and the defensive line. So Air Force picked 6th in the Mount West preseason poll. And by the way, the voting, there's a little bit of separation between like CSU in 4th and Air Force in 6th. Really, Fresno State, Air Force, and a lot of publications that I've read, those are very close, if not interchangeable. And I think even some would say that the gap between CSU and Air Force isn't great. Some things will have to go right for Air Force. On paper, I understand. And that's why I said I'm not dogging on those who voted in this preseason poll. I don't think it's completely crazy to have Air Force 6th. I'm building in some projection with this Air Force team. UNLV, San Jose State, Boise State's in a league of their own. UNLV, San Jose State, they're not in Boise State's class, in my opinion, but a lot has to go right. A lot has to go right for CSU to get in that mix. If we want to rope the Rams into this conversation, a lot has to go right for them to crack that next tier and challenge for the Mount West championship game. But we'll see. The season coming up next month. Next month, college football begins. 719-247-1313. Before we take a break, I want to let you know about Low T Center. If you're constantly feeling tired, if you can't focus, you don't have energy to get off the couch, that's not living. Come on, you live here in Colorado Springs because there's so much going on. But you got to get out. You got to get out and do things. Well, if you don't have the energy to do it, it could be low T, and it affects all aspects of your life. Feeling tired, you're probably feeling grumpy. Feeling grumpy, people don't want to be around you. This is a quality of life issue. Get your life back with testosterone therapy by Synergenics and Low T Center. There's never been a better time to find out your T level. Just visit any Synergenics or Low T Center, and you could download the Synergenics app or visit Low T Center to take the test. It's fast. Results are available in about 15 minutes. And right now, the test is still free, but time is running out. So act now. Simple test. You get going, and you'll find out. And that Synergenics app, pretty cool. A lot of stuff on it that can help you on your wellness journey. Tell your friends, by the way, to get started on TRT, and you will receive a $250 credit when you and your referral become patients. It all starts by going to fixmylowt.com or downloading, I should say, that Synergenics app. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare. Next week, I'll be doing the show live on the campus of Colorado College for the DoD Warrior Games. This is the event where service members from every branch of the military take part in adaptive sports in an Olympic style event. This was here a handful of years ago at the Air Force Academy. Now it's at Colorado College. An amazing event, one of the best sporting events that I've been able to attend. And you can plan your visit at dodwargames.org. Who's ready for some matinee hockey? Avalanche released their schedule today, and they have, 18 day games? 18. That's amazing. I am all about the matinee hockey. I don't know about you. Including, by the way, Halloween. They're going to be in Vegas playing the Golden Knights on Halloween at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's going to be amazing. Now, there's a critical mass here. I don't need hockey to only be a day sport. But I don't think we've gotten there yet. I don't think we've gotten to the tipping point yet where we've gotten too much day hockey. This is a good number of day hockey games. Especially if you're a fan of, and this goes back to what we were complaining about during the playoffs, that the Avs and the Nuggets are playing together. I know that's the postseason and it means more, but still, for those of us who watch both of those teams on a regular basis, there are nights where both are playing at the same time. That's not optimal. Give me the Avalanche in the afternoon, Nuggets at night, or vice versa. But we know the NBA is not, unless it's a Sunday, they're not going to, or MLK Day, they play during the day. I like that many day NHL games. They will open the season, as you may already know, because this was announced a couple of days ago. They will play at Crypto against the Kings, second time in 3 years. They've opened up the season in LA. That'll be the late start of the triple header on the opening night of the NHL. Their first home game will be against the Forever Utah Hockey Club. I'm not going to call them the other name. I mean, I will from time to time, but if I really concentrate, I will not. And I don't want to. Utah Hockey Club forever. That's who they're going to open up with at Ball Arena 2 days after they open the season. So that'll be Thursday, October 9th. Division rival, Utah. 12 back-to-back games. Not a fan of that. Not a fan of the back-to-backs, nor do I think the teams are either. Let's see. Notable games. Florida, how about the double champs? A potential Stanley Cup preview for this year. That will be December 11th at Ball Arena. The Tampa Bay Lightning, Kucherov versus McKinnon, will be on November 4th. You want to see Connor Hellebuck? December 19th, December 28th. And don't forget, a 20-day, and this is probably the reason there are so many back-to-backs, 20 days off for the Olympics. So there will be not a gap without hockey. There will still be hockey during those 20 days. And it will be played by NHL players. But it will be in Italy for the Olympics. No All-Star game this year, which is fine. Rather have the Olympics. It's coming up. October, July, August, September. I feel like I'm Jerry Seinfeld. You know, July's almost over, and August always goes fast because it's the end of the summer and you don't want the summer to end. So August will go fast. Then it's September, and you're so excited about football that time will start flying, and then it'll be October. It's really like 1 month. One month until hockey season. Tell your friends. Also, saw this today. The Gazette put this out on social media. So Wyndham Clark, Colorado's own, has now been banned from Oakmont, where the U.S. Open was. He's banned. Why is he banned? Because he destroyed a locker, which you can't do. Don't destroy other people's property. So I'm not saying good on Wyndham Clark. I'm just saying I understand the impulse. I do. I understand it. It's Oakmont. It's the U.S. Open. It's the USGA. I would understand the impulse to destroy something. Can't do it, but I get it. As somebody who has 2 fewer clubs in the bag than he did a couple of weeks ago for similar reasons. Not proud of it. It's not a badge of honor, but I'm just saying I can relate to Wyndham Clark. And I'm not playing Oakmont. And 2 clubs paid the price. So Wyndham Clark not allowed at Oakmont. I don't know if, given this situation, I think he'll be glad not to be going to Oakmont. You don't ban me. I refuse to go here. Here's another thing on the golf front. So the Open Championship begins tomorrow. You getting up for it? I try to, on the weekend, I used to be a guy that would get up for Thursday in a vain attempt to lock in for the entire weekend. Never, doesn't happen. I'm a little older now, not doing that. If it's compelling going into Sunday, okay, talk to me Sunday or Saturday night going into Sunday. The Open Championship tomorrow, we'll have updates all throughout the day tomorrow here on Extra Sports 1300, courtesy of our friends at Westwood One. So we'll keep you updated on how it goes, and each round is going to be over by the time I hit the air. So we'll talk some golf over the next couple of days. Will we hear from the Broncos rookies? Did they all report? Do we know any of that? No, because they arrive and no one is allowed around them. But perhaps tomorrow we'll hear from some of the Broncos rookies. Sean Payton, we'll see. In the meantime, I want to tell you again, you've been bombarded, I'm sure, by ads about testosterone replacement therapy, TRT. And you're like, maybe I need this, maybe I don't, but I don't know where to go. There's so many places trying to gain my patronage. I'll tell you, Low T Center. They're the experts in this. They're the best at this in Colorado Springs, and now they've added the Synergenics app to their arsenal. It's going to allow you to book an appointment, but if you do undergo testosterone replacement therapy, the Synergenics app will be a good friend to you because you can see your results. You could schedule appointments, do all sorts of things on that app. Synergenics and Low T Center, really, they give you the power to take control of your health. With their custom dose TRT, you can have the freedom to choose between white glove in-center care or medically monitored treatment with testosterone delivered to your home. If you've been feeling a little tired, can't focus, you don't have the energy, maybe you're a little grumpy and you're like, I got to do something about this. This may be that something. And right now, the test is free, so there's no downside. Download the Synergenics app or visit fixmylowt.com. That's fixmylowt.com. It has been my pleasure to serve you on this Wednesday. Be back tomorrow. What's going on tonight? Not a lot. Maybe it's a movie night. But enjoy it. Whatever you may be doing, we'll reconvene tomorrow at 3 here on Extra Sports 1300.